How much do you know about Lee Van Cleef other than that he was one of the greatest Western actors? Let's put that reputation aside because we have a lot more to discuss about him in this video. Lee Van Cleef's life was a tragic series of events that included countless career, marital, and health scandals that not everyone knows about. Stay until the end of the video to learn about the tragedies that Lee Van Cleef endured. It can be said that Lee Van Cleef's infamous scandals began to erupt in 1958. At that time, he had firmly established himself within the Western genre, earning the respect and admiration of his peers. Known for his sharp features and intense on-screen presence, he was on an upward trajectory in his acting career. However, this promising rise was abruptly interrupted by a life-altering incident. In the fall of 1958, Van Cleef was returning home from Lone Pine, California, where he had been filming Ride Lonesome, a Western directed by Bud Boetticher. As he navigated the winding roads, an unforeseen event would drastically change his life. Van Cleef was involved in a head-on collision with another car, a crash that left him severely injured. He sustained 2 fractures on his left arm and a shattered kneecap on his left leg. These injuries were not just painful, but debilitating, requiring immediate and extensive medical attention. Van Cleef was hospitalized for a month, during which time he underwent multiple treatments to address his injuries. The prognosis was grim. Doctors believed he might never walk without a limp again, and the possibility of riding a horse seemed even more remote. For an actor whose career was rooted in the Western genre, this news was nothing short of devastating. The physical demands of his roles required not just walking, but often involved riding horses, engaging in stunts, and portraying the rugged, physically capable characters central to Westerns. The thought of being unable to perform these tasks threatened to derail his burgeoning career. The month-long hospital stay marked the beginning of a long and arduous recovery process. Van Cleef's injuries were severe, and the path to regaining mobility and strength was uncertain. The shattered kneecap, in particular, posed a significant challenge. Kneecap injuries are notoriously difficult to heal, often leading to chronic pain and limited movement. For Van Cleef, the impact on his career was immediate and profound. He faced the very real possibility that he might never return to the film set, let alone resume the roles that had started to define his place in Hollywood. During this period, Van Cleef's future in acting hung in the balance. The entertainment industry, especially the Western genre, was not kind to those who could not meet its physical demands. The image of the cowboy was synonymous with physical prowess and resilience, traits that Van Cleef now feared he might never be able to embody again. This period of uncertainty and physical pain was undoubtedly a trying time for the actor. Despite the grim prognosis, Van Cleef's determination and resilience came to the fore. His recovery was slow and fraught with challenges, but he refused to give up. The physical therapy sessions were grueling, and the progress was incremental, but Van Cleef approached his recovery with the same intensity and focus he brought to his roles. He worked tirelessly to regain his strength and mobility, driven by a desire to return to the screen. At the height of his career downturn and personal tragedy, Lee Van Cleef's life took another dark turn. The immense physical pain and the bleak prognosis after his accident led Van Cleef down a path of excessive drinking. The alcohol, intended as a temporary escape from his overwhelming challenges, quickly became a destructive force in his life. This excessive drinking began to strain his marriage to Patsy Ruth Cale, his wife of 15 years. The two had shared a life and raised 3 children together, but the emotional and psychological toll of Van Cleef's injuries, combined with his increasing dependence on alcohol, created a significant rift between them. The stress and uncertainty of his career, coupled with his new physical limitations and reliance on alcohol, placed immense pressure on their relationship. In the months following his accident, the tension between Van Cleef and Patsy grew. The support and unity that had once defined their marriage were eroded by the constant presence of Van Cleef's drinking and the emotional turmoil it caused. Despite their shared history and the family they had built together, the divide became irreparable. In a time when Van Cleef needed support the most, the strain proved too great for their marriage to withstand. Just a few months after the accident, Van Cleef and Patsy Ruth Cayley divorced. Their 15-year marriage, which had produced 3 children, came to an end. The divorce added another layer of pain and difficulty to Van Cleef's already challenging situation. For Patsy, leaving her husband at such a critical juncture could not have been an easy decision. It is important to recognize the complexity and difficulty of the situation she faced, especially without knowing the private details of their relationship. The true reasons behind their split remain a mystery. In an era before the invasive scrutiny of modern media, the specifics of their marital issues were not made public. The lack of public records or invasive tabloid coverage means that the full story behind their divorce will likely never be known. Patsy Ruth Cayley's decision to leave Van Cleef during his time of need might seem harsh, but without understanding the intimate details of their personal struggles, it's impossible to fully grasp the reasons behind their separation. Despite the dire prognosis given by his doctors, Lee Van Cleef's determination and resilience shone through. Just 6 months after his debilitating accident, he defied expectations and was back on a horse. This remarkable feat was a testament to his indomitable spirit and his refusal to let his injuries dictate his future. However, the journey back to physical activity was fraught with challenges. Riding a horse again, while symbolically significant, could not mask the pain and discomfort that persisted in his knee. Every ride reminded him of the accident's lasting impact, and he had to contend with physical limitations that he had never faced before. Van Cleef's attempts to return to the physical demands of his roles were marked by both courage and frustration. The knee injury, with its constant pain and reduced mobility, prevented him from fully engaging in the rigorous activities that were a staple of his acting career in westerns. The zeal with which he approached his comeback was not enough to compensate for the physical reality of his condition. As a result, he found himself increasingly unable to meet the demands of the roles that had once come naturally to him. This inability to perform at his previous level led to a gradual phasing out from the scene. Hollywood, always in search of fresh talent and unwavering physical prowess, began to overlook Van Cleef for more prominent roles. Instead of the starring roles he had once aspired to, he was now relegated to smaller, less demanding parts. In 1962, he landed a small role as a henchman in the classic western The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Although the film was successful and starred major actors like John Wayne and James Stewart, Van Cleef's role was minor, a stark contrast to the more significant parts he had hoped to secure. Around the same time, he appeared in an uncredited role as a river pirate in How the West Was Won, another star-studded western. This film, too, was a major production featuring a host of big names, but Van Cleef's part was so small that it went largely unnoticed. These roles, though they kept him in the industry, were not enough to sustain him financially or satisfy his professional ambitions. The lack of substantial filming roles took a heavy toll on Van Cleef's finances. The steady income that had come from more prominent roles was no longer there, and he found himself in a financial pinch. The realities of his financial situation, combined with the ongoing physical pain and the diminishing prospects in Hollywood, forced him to make a difficult decision. After much contemplation, Van Cleef decided it was time to hang up his Hollywood boots. Amidst the tumultuous period following his accident and career struggles, Lee Van Cleef experienced a glimmer of hope and personal renewal. In 1960, just a couple of years after his accident, Van Cleef found love once more and married Joan Marjorie Drain. Joan, who worked as a secretary at IBM, became a stabilizing presence in his life. The couple also welcomed a daughter, Denise, through adoption, adding a new layer of joy and responsibility to their lives. Despite this new chapter, financial pressures continued to weigh heavily on Van Cleef and his family. Jones' salary from IBM, while helpful, was not sufficient to cover all their needs. To make ends meet, Van Cleef had to find alternative sources of income. With his acting career in limbo and his physical limitations making it difficult to return to his previous roles, he took on a job as a painter. This was a far cry from the glamorous world of Hollywood he had once known, and the transition was significant. Imagine the peculiar situation of having to explain to your friends and acquaintances that the man who painted your house is the same individual you've seen on television. In an era without the instantaneous verification provided by modern cameras and social media, such a claim would have been met with skepticism and surprise. For Van Cleef, this meant navigating a new reality where his previous fame was overshadowed by the more mundane aspects of life. The painting work was a practical solution to their financial challenges, but it also underscored how far Van Cleef had fallen from his once prominent position in the film industry. His earlier roles had established him as a formidable presence in westerns, but the accident had drastically altered his career trajectory. The physical demands of lead roles were now beyond his reach, and the Western genre, once his forte, was beginning to lose its grip on popular culture. As the Western genre started to wane in popularity, the opportunities for Van Cleef to revive his acting career became even more elusive. The changing tastes of audiences and the rise of new genres and actors meant that his comeback was increasingly difficult to achieve. For a period, it seemed as though Van Cleef's career might be over before it truly had the chance to recover. Just as Lee Van Cleef's career seemed to be dwindling into obscurity, a new and unexpected opportunity emerged, offering a glimmer of hope. This crucial turning point came in the form of Italian film director Sergio Leone. By the early 1960s, Leone had achieved significant success with his film A Fistful of Dollars, and he was on the lookout for his next major project. The Western genre, which had once been Van Cleef's domain, was about to see a resurgence thanks to Leone's innovative approach. Leone, known for his distinct style and vision, was considering two actors for a key role in his upcoming film. Van Cleef, who was struggling financially and was on the brink of losing hope, was one of the actors under consideration. At this point in his life, Van Cleef was facing severe financial difficulties. He was even unable to pay his phone bill, highlighting just how precarious his situation had become. The irony of his predicament was not lost on him, as he had once been a prominent actor in Hollywood, but was now reduced to living paycheck to paycheck. In a dramatic twist of fate, Van Cleef's fortunes began to change with just one meeting with Leone. The director, impressed by Van Cleef's screen presence and charisma, decided to cast him in the role of Colonel Mortimer in the film For a Few Dollars More, 1965. This role was a significant breakthrough for Van Cleef. His portrayal of Mortimer, a complex and morally ambiguous character, was both compelling and memorable, reinvigorating his career and giving him a much-needed financial boost. He was paid $17,000 for the role, a considerable sum that represented a substantial improvement from his recent earnings. The film, For a Few Dollars More, proved to be a massive success. It resonated with audiences across Europe, Canada, and America, and went on to gross $25.5 million worldwide. This success not only provided Van Cleef with financial stability, but also revitalized his career, catapulting him back into the limelight. The film's success opened doors for future projects and re-established Van Cleef as a leading actor in the Western genre. The collaboration between Van Cleef and Leone did not end with For a Few Dollars More. Recognizing the chemistry between them, the director and actor reunited for the highly anticipated film The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. In this film, Van Cleef portrayed Angel Eyes, a role that became iconic and defined his career for years to come. The character, a ruthless and cunning antagonist, was a stark departure from his earlier roles and cemented Van Cleef's reputation as a masterful actor in the Western genre. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was not only a critical success but also a commercial triumph, grossing an impressive $38.9 million worldwide. The film's success further solidified Van Cleef's place in cinematic history and showcased his ability to embody complex and memorable characters. The film's global reception contributed to the resurgence of the spaghetti western genre, and Van Cleef's role as Angel Eyes became one of the most memorable in Western film history. The resurgence of Lee Van Cleef's career, fueled by his collaboration with Italian director Sergio Leone, was nothing short of remarkable. Following the success of their first project together, For a Few Dollars More, Leone's recognition of Van Cleef's talent led to a significant and well-deserved reward. Within just 2 years of their partnership, Van Cleef's salary had skyrocketed from $17,000 to over $100,000. This substantial pay raise was a clear indication of the high regard in which Leone held Van Cleef and the value he placed on his performances. Their successful collaborations did not end with just 1 or 2 films. The synergy between Leone and Van Cleef continued to thrive as they worked together on several other spaghetti westerns. These films solidified Van Cleef's reputation as a major player in the genre. Among their notable projects were Death Rides a Horse, 1967, where Van Cleef portrayed a vengeful gunman seeking retribution, Day of Anger, 1967, which featured him in a role as a tough, seasoned outlaw, The Grand Duel, 1972, where he played a lawman caught up in a complex narrative of justice and revenge, Sabata, 1969, where Van Cleef's portrayal of a suave bounty hunter showcased his versatility, and its sequel, Return of Sabata, 1972, where he reprised his role in an even more action-packed adventure. These films not only reinforced Van Cleef's standing in the international film scene, but also attracted attention from American film producers. His success in the spaghetti westerns demonstrated his continued appeal and talent, leading to opportunities in Hollywood once again. Among his new roles was The Octagon, 1980, where he starred alongside martial arts legend Chuck Norris. In this film, Van Cleef played a key role in a storyline involving ninjas and high-stakes action. He also appeared in Escape from New York, 1981, a John Carpenter classic where he shared the screen with Kurt Russell, portraying a tough and resilient character in a dystopian future. Additionally, Van Cleef took on a role in Armed Response, 1986, further showcasing his adaptability and enduring presence in action films. Throughout his extensive career, Van Cleef accumulated a remarkable number of credits. He appeared in 90 films and made 109 TV appearances, reflecting his versatility and prolific output as an actor. This impressive body of work highlights not only his resilience and ability to overcome personal and professional setbacks, but also his lasting impact on both American and international cinema. Sergio Leone's decision to cast Lee Van Cleef in his spaghetti westerns marked a pivotal moment in the actor's career, but it was not without its challenges. Van Cleef, eager to seize this new opportunity, had to navigate a host of difficulties that came with working abroad. His involvement in Leone's films required him to travel thousands of miles away from his home in the United States, leaving behind his wife and children to work in a foreign country. One of the most immediate challenges Van Cleef faced was the language barrier. The filming of For a Few Dollars More, 1965, took place in Italy, and the working environment was distinctly different from what he was used to in Hollywood. Sergio Leone, despite his genius in directing, did not speak English, which presented a significant communication obstacle on set. The crew and other actors spoke a mix of Italian, German, and Spanish, creating a multilingual atmosphere that Van Cleef struggled to navigate. In an interview with Alex Cox, Van Cleef candidly discussed the difficulties he encountered. He had to rely on an interpreter to communicate with Leon and the rest of the team. This reliance on translation not only slowed down the production process, but also created a sense of isolation for Van Cleef. His attempts to learn the various languages spoken on set were understandably limited. When surrounded by multiple languages, it can be incredibly challenging to determine which one to focus on, especially when the primary goal is to deliver a performance rather than mastering a new language. Despite these initial hurdles, the language barrier did not prevent the team from producing successful films. The collaborative spirit among the cast and crew ensured that everyone understood their roles and responsibilities. The ability to communicate through shared goals and dedication to the project helped overcome the linguistic obstacles. The end result was a series of box office hits that resonated with audiences worldwide, proving that effective teamwork could transcend language differences. By the time Van Cleef returned for his second film with Leone, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, Sergio Leone had made significant strides in learning English. This improvement in communication facilitated a smoother working environment and allowed for more efficient interactions on set. Leone's growing fluency in English further helped bridge the gap between the American actor and the European film crew. In addition to the language challenges, Van Cleef also noted differences in the pace of production. The technical team in Europe, while skilled, was not as well trained or as experienced as their American counterparts. This discrepancy in expertise contributed to slower progress on set, which sometimes impacted the efficiency of the filmmaking process. The difference in production speed was a notable adjustment for Van Cleef, who was accustomed to the fast-paced, highly professional environment of Hollywood. One of the most surprising difficulties he encountered was the length and complexity of the scripts he was presented with. Unlike many of his previous roles, which often required minimal dialogue and relied heavily on his imposing presence and physicality, the spaghetti western scripts were densely packed with verbose and intricate dialogue. The contrast between his earlier work and these new scripts was stark. In Hollywood, Van Cleef had frequently played characters who communicated more through their actions than their words. These roles allowed him to embody a silent strength and intensity, where the weight of his presence was often more significant than his verbal contributions. However, in Italy, he faced scripts that were replete with lengthy sentences and complex structures, requiring him to adapt quickly to a new style of dialogue delivery. The challenge of mastering these verbose scripts was not trivial. Van Cleef, known for his dedication and professionalism, took matters into his own hands. He made necessary alterations to the scripts, refining the dialogue to better suit his style and the overall tone of the films. This adjustment was not just about making the words easier to say, but also about ensuring that his performance remained authentic and impactful. By streamlining the dialogue and allowing his natural presence to convey the character's essence, Van Cleef managed to maintain the intensity and gravitas that had become his trademark. Despite these hurdles, Van Cleef's enthusiasm for his work remained unwavering. He developed a deep appreciation for the talent and creativity present in European cinema. The Italian film industry, with its innovative approach and distinctive flair, offered a new and exciting landscape for his acting career. Van Cleef's involvement in these films was not merely a professional obligation, but an opportunity to immerse himself in a different artistic culture and contribute to its unique cinematic vision. When asked about his experience working on Italian films, Van Cleef expressed a refreshing and pragmatic perspective. He famously remarked, "No, I don't care where I work. Films are an international business, not an American institution. You go where the work is. It can be in my own backyard, Israel, Spain, or Yugoslavia. We may have the greatest technical efficiency in the world, but our artistic values are not necessarily the best." This statement reflects his open-minded approach to the global nature of filmmaking and his recognition of the diverse artistic contributions from various regions. At the zenith of Lee Van Cleef's career, his personal life faced a significant upheaval that mirrored the dramatic twists and turns of his professional journey. In 1978, after 14 years of marriage, Van Cleef and his second wife, Joan Marjorie Drain, divorced. This period of his life was marked by considerable change and transition, both professionally and personally. The reasons behind their split remain shrouded in mystery, as the specifics of the divorce were not made public. The lack of clarity surrounding the separation only added to the intrigue of his personal life during this time. Despite the personal turmoil, Van Cleef's professional life was flourishing. His career had been reinvigorated by his successful collaborations with Italian director Sergio Leon and his prominent roles in spaghetti westerns. The dramatic narrative of his personal life, marked by his divorce and subsequent search for new beginnings, paralleled the intense and complex characters he portrayed on screen. Less than 2 years after his divorce from Joan, Van Cleef embarked on a new chapter in his personal life. In 1980, he married Barbara Havalone, a concert musician he had met during the filming of The Stranger and the Gunfighter in 1974. The film, a spaghetti western directed by Antonio Margheriti, provided the backdrop for their meeting, which would lead to a significant new relationship in Van Cleef's life. Barbara Havalone, a talented musician known for her skills in the classical music world, represented a different facet of Van Cleef's life compared to his previous relationships. Her presence in his life brought a sense of renewal and stability. The couple's meeting on the set of The Stranger and the Gunfighter was a fortuitous one, intertwining their personal and professional worlds in a way that would significantly impact Van Cleef's future. The choice of Barbara Havalone as his new partner was not just a personal decision, but also a reflection of Van Cleef's evolving interests and aspirations. While he had previously navigated the challenges of a high-profile acting career and personal setbacks, his relationship with Barbara marked a period of relative stability and new beginnings. Their marriage symbolized a fresh start for Van Cleef, both personally and professionally. Barbara Havalone's background as a concert musician brought a new dimension to Van Cleef's life. Her artistic sensibilities and experience in the world of classical music complemented Van Cleef's own creative pursuits. Their partnership was marked by mutual respect and support, helping Van Cleef navigate the complexities of his career and personal life with renewed focus. Van Cleef's marriage to Barbara Havalone lasted until his death in 1989, providing him with a sense of personal fulfillment and stability during the latter part of his life. The couple's shared experiences, both on and off the set, contributed to Van Cleef's ability to maintain a successful career while managing the challenges that came with it. Despite being a cornerstone of the Western genre and delivering some of its most memorable performances, Van Cleef's contributions were often undervalued during his career. His story exemplifies the classic narrative of a legendary figure whose work went largely unrecognized by those closest to him, while finding a broader appreciation only through the passage of time and through the efforts of a few key supporters. Van Cleef's talent and screen presence were undeniable, yet his roles often went unnoticed in the eyes of critics and industry insiders. His performances in spaghetti westerns, especially those directed by Sergio Leon, were groundbreaking. Leon's decision to cast Van Cleef in prominent roles helped to elevate the actor's career and brought him international recognition. However, this acclaim was not always mirrored by the critical reception in his home country, where his talents were frequently underappreciated. The disparity between Van Cleef's popularity with audiences and the critical response he received reflects a broader trend in which some actors, despite their undeniable skill and impact, struggle to gain the recognition they deserve. Critics often have the power to shape public perception, and as Van Cleef's box office appeal began to wane, the critical narrative shifted away from celebrating his contributions. This change in narrative, as with many such instances, highlights the often fickle nature of critical acclaim. In interviews, Van Cleef expressed a degree of frustration with the lack of critical appreciation for his work. When asked about the absence of praise for his later roles, he candidly remarked, "I can understand, but I don't agree with it. I don't believe in an awful lot of what the critics do." This statement reflects his disappointment with the critical reception of his work, while also underscoring his belief in the value of his contributions, despite what critics might say. Despite the lack of critical acclaim, Van Cleef's work continued to be celebrated by audiences around the world. His roles in spaghetti westerns and his collaboration with Sergio Leon left a lasting impact on the genre and cemented his status as a cinematic icon. The enduring popularity of his performances among fans is a testament to the powerful connection he forged with audiences through his compelling portrayals. The recognition that Van Cleef received later in his career, notably the Golden Boot Award in 1983, was a significant acknowledgment of his contributions to the Western film and television genre. The Golden Boot Award, which honors individuals for their contributions to Westerns, was Van Cleef's only major industry award. This accolade, though belated, was a fitting tribute to his remarkable career and his impact on the genre. It served as a symbolic gesture, recognizing his achievements and celebrating his legacy, even if it came after many of his most celebrated performances. Despite the violent and often morally ambiguous characters he portrayed on screen, Van Cleef adhered to a strict personal code that influenced the roles he chose and the manner in which he performed them. His commitment to maintaining personal integrity, even in the face of career opportunities, set him apart from many of his contemporaries and reflects his deep sense of morality. Van Cleef's values were deeply rooted in his belief in justice and truth. He held firm to the principle that films should reflect moral clarity, particularly when depicting violence and crime. This meant that he was selective about the roles he took, ensuring that they aligned with his belief in upholding justice and not allowing criminals or wrongdoers to escape consequences. His unwritten rule book dictated that he avoid projects that did not meet his ethical standards, which sometimes led to him being passed over for certain roles or projects that went against his principles. In interviews, Van Cleef expressed a strong conviction about the need for truth and justice to prevail, both in the narrative of the films he worked on and in his personal conduct. He felt that it was crucial for movies to depict the rightful retribution of villains and not portray violent criminals in a glorified or unchecked manner. This ethical stance influenced his career choices and contributed to his reputation as an actor who was not only dedicated to his craft, but also to his moral beliefs. Van Cleef's principles also extended to the depiction of violence within his roles. He maintained a strong stance against causing harm to vulnerable groups such as children, women, and animals. This ethical consideration was not just a personal preference, but a matter of professional integrity. For instance, in his role in the classic spaghetti western The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, Van Cleef was involved in a scene where his character was supposed to slap a female character. Despite the demands of the scene, Van Cleef refused to perform the act himself, adhering to his personal code against physically harming women. Despite his robust on-screen persona, Van Cleef struggled with significant health issues, particularly severe heart disease. His condition required the use of a pacemaker, a testament to the gravity of his health struggles. On December 16, 1989, Van Cleef's health took a tragic turn. While at his home in Oxnard, California, he collapsed and was immediately rushed to St. John's Hospital. Unfortunately, he did not survive the emergency. The actor succumbed to a heart attack, with throat cancer identified as a secondary cause of death. The cancer was linked to his long-term use of a pipe, highlighting the often hidden consequences of smoking. The news of Van Cleef's death sent shockwaves through both the fan community and the film industry. His passing marked the end of a remarkable career that had significantly impacted the Western genre and cinematic history. Fans who had admired his on-screen toughness were deeply moved by the news, and tributes poured in from all corners of the entertainment world. Van Cleef's funeral was a reflection of his iconic status and the deep respect he commanded among his peers. The service was held with a poignant nod to his legacy in Westerns. Attendees honored his memory by donning cowboy hats and Western attire, a tribute to the roles that had defined much of his career. This choice of attire was not merely symbolic, but an homage to the characters and films that had made Van Cleef a legend in the genre. The eulogy was delivered by Rance Howard, a friend of Van Cleef, who spoke to the depth of the actor's character and the impact he had on those who knew him. Howard's words were a testament to Van Cleef's contributions, both as an actor and as a person, capturing the respect and affection felt by those who had worked with him and admired his work. The pallbearers at Van Cleef's funeral included notable figures from the Western genre, such as Rory Calhoun and Harry Carey Jr., among others. Their presence at the service underscored the deep connections and friendships that Van Cleef had cultivated throughout his career. These individuals, many of whom had shared the screen with him or were part of the same cinematic tradition, paid their final respects in a manner befitting a Western icon. Van Cleef was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Hollywood Hills, California. The choice of this location was significant, as Forest Lawn is known for being the final resting place of many prominent figures in the entertainment industry. It provided a fitting and serene setting for the conclusion of Van Cleef's remarkable life and career. Surviving Van Cleef was his wife, Barbara Havalone, who had been a constant support throughout his later years. Their marriage, which began in 1980, was marked by mutual respect and love, providing Van Cleef with stability during a time when his health was increasingly precarious. Barbara's presence at the funeral and in the aftermath of his death was a testament to the personal bond they shared and the support she provided him through his struggles. What do you think about Lee Van Cleef's life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.